What is up, book nerds? My name is Hillary, and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing my May TBR game, where I pick my prompts for books for the month of May and go off of those. And before we get into that, I want to talk about some read-alongs that I'm going to be a part of in May, and then we'll get right on into the game. The first read-along that I am going to be doing is one that I'm hosting over on my Instagram. And so if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and I will add you to that group. But we decided for the month of May, we're going to be reading Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This is I believe a Mulan retelling, and on the inside a little bit it says, "A gifted tailor in disguise, 3 legendary dresses, the competition of a lifetime." I've heard some good things about this book, and I am really excited to read it. The read-along that is on Instagram that I do every month, I put up 3 or 4 choices of genres that you get to choose from, and then after we figure out what genre has the most votes, then I put up 2 or 3 books from that genre and let y'all put your vote in on the book that you want to read, and majority vote wins. So this is the one that won, and I am excited to read this and then discuss it with fellow Instagrammers and see what they thought about it. The next read-along that I do is also on Instagram, and it's with the handle Books All the Way Down. I will have her linked in my description down below. And the first one that we're reading is the final book in the Darker Shade of Magic series, and that is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. Now, I did recently find out that she did write a 4th book for this series, and it comes out, I believe, next year, but I'm really excited to get to this. A Darker Shade of Magic is about this guy named Kel, and he can travel from each London. There are 4 Londons: Red London, Black London, White London, and Grey London. Black London is one that nobody goes to because magic took over too much, and I believe it killed everybody in it. White London has a little bit of magic, and Grey London is kind of iffy on the magic. But then there's Red London, and that one is where Kel is from. It's a whirlwind of a story. It is kind of hard to get into, but once you're about 100 pages in, it's such a good book. And I am currently reading the second one now, and can't wait to get to this one and see what I think of the rest of these books. The next read-along with that same handle is the Throne of Glass read-along, and the next book in that series that we're going to be reading is Queen of Shadows, and all of these are by Sarah J. Maas. I am so stoked to get to this book because the way Heir of Fire ended, I didn't know what to think, but I did take a break from the series because I wanted to read something so I wouldn't get into a reading slump or get books mixed up. And I am excited to see where Selena goes in this book, because if you read Heir of Fire, she has this whole come to part of who she really is. Like, she's known forever, but she's finally accepting it. And then there's Rowan, and he is an amazing character. But that ending with Dorian and Kale, I don't know what they're gonna do in this book with them, especially Dorian. That was so crazy about what happened. I just don't want to give too much away talking about it, but I am excited to get to this one, and this one is a chunker. It is over 600 pages, but I am really stoked to read this and to see what happens, because after I get this one done, I have, I think, 3 more books left to read in this series, and then I would have read all of Sarah J. Maas's books until her next Crescent City book. Now it's time to get into my game for the month. If you don't know, I do 5 picks from my cup of prompts that I have on sticks, and then I have a cup right here that has punishment prompts. So if I didn't finish the books that I planned on reading last month, I do a punishment prompt. And that is what happened. I had so many books, and I read a lot of books, but some of them I just was not in the mood to read, so I am going to be taking a punishment pick for the month of May. So let's get right on into this. So my punishment is add a book. So instead of reading 5 books, I will have 6 books I have to read, which isn't terrible because I can always add on a read-along book for these prompts. So now let's get into my picks for the month of May. And the first prompt is number generator. So how I do this is I put in a number generator of how many bookshelves I have, and then I put a number for going across for how many books, and that's how we will decide what book I read. Let me get it brought up here on my phone. Okay, so we have, alright, so we have 21 shelves, and we will put in, right now we're going to find out what shelf I have to choose from. 6. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is this bottom shelf right here. I'm just going to put in, let's just do 40. And it says 2. So let me look down there. Now if it's a series, then I have to read the first book in the series, obviously. So let's go see. So the book that was chosen is one in a series, and that was the second book, which was Beautiful Darkness. I have not read this series yet, so I'm going to be reading the first one. And that book is Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I watched this movie years ago, and I actually really liked it. And I'm excited to get into the book. What I know about the book is it has witches, and this girl comes of age where she starts discovering her powers, and she has to beat this darkness that comes in, but then put in a twist of a human love interest, and I am excited to read this. I don't want to read the back because I don't want to know too much about what happens, but I am ready to jump into this series and see what happens. Alright, so pick number 2. And that pick is, what's that say? Oh, it's upside down. It says hardcover, so that can be any hardcover book that I own, I can choose from. So let's see what I decide. If I was smart, I'd pick Spin the Dawn, but why would I do that when I can challenge myself? Alright, so for hardcover, I decided to go with a book that I've been wanting to read and recently got in a book haul from Book of the Month, or Book Outlet, and that book is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This is a story about Maverick, who was Star's father in The Hate U Give, and his story growing up and becoming a father at 17. And I'm really excited to get to this one because I loved The Hate U Give, and I loved Maverick in that story, so I'm really excited to get to know him more and what he was going through when he found out he was going to become a dad. Pick number 3. And that is a horror book. So let me see what books I have that are considered horror and go from there. Alright, so for the prompt horror, I decided to go with Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this says it's about, after receiving a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin, Noemi Taboda, heads to High Place, a distant house in the Mexican countryside, unsure what she will find. Noemi is an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante who's more suited to cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing, but she's also tough, smart, and not afraid. Not of her cousin's new English husband, a stranger who is both menacing and alluring. Not of his father, the ancient patriarch, who seems fascinated by Noemi, and not even the house itself, which begins to invade Noemi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. Noemi's only ally in this inhospitable place is the family's youngest son, but he too may be hiding something dark, for there are many secrets behind the walls of High Place, as Noemi discovers when she begins to unearth stories of violence and madness. Mesmerized by this terrifying yet seductive world, Noemi may soon find it impossible to save her cousin, or even escape this enigmatic house. I'm excited to get to this. My only thing is, I've heard mixed reviews about this book, but I am ready to read it and see what I think about it and let you guys know my opinion about it. Alright, so pick number 4 is a Gifted to You book. Let me see if I have some, because I don't know if I have any right now, but let's check. A book that was gifted to me was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This will be my first Elizabeth Acevedo book, and I'm excited to read it. I've heard great things about this book, but it says, ever since she got pregnant freshman year, Imoni Santiago's life has been about making the tough decisions, doing what has to be done for her daughter and her abuela. The one place she can let all that go is in the kitchen. There she lets her hands tell her what to cook, listening to her intuition and adding a little something magical every time, turning her food into straight up goodness. Even though she's always dreamed of working in a kitchen after she graduates, Imoni knows that it's not worth her time to pursue the impossible. Yet despite the rules she's made for her life and everyone else's rules, which she refuses to play by, once Imoni starts cooking, her only choice is to let her talent break free. This just sounds like such a good book. I've heard if you read it, make sure you have a snack nearby because it will make you hungry, because it really dives into the recipes and what she makes. And our 5th pick is a middle grade. Now, I don't know if I have any middle grade left to read or ones that I really want to read, but let me check, and if not, I'll redraw a new one. Alright, so I found one more middle grade that I can read, and that is Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. This is her middle grade series. I read the first book called City of Ghosts, and that one was a really fun read, and this one is the second one in that trilogy. And it says, Cass is in Paris, where her parents are filming their TV show about the world's most haunted cities. The TV show is fun, but little do they know about the true ghostly danger lurking beneath Paris in the creepy underground catacombs. When Cass accidentally awakens a frighteningly strong spirit, she must rely on her still growing skills as a ghost hunter and turn to friends, both old and new, to help her unravel a mystery. But time is running out, and the spirit is only growing stronger, and if Cass fails, the force she unleashed could haunt the city forever. I remember reading the first one, and her parents are ghost hunters, but they don't believe that their daughter can actually communicate with ghosts. Now, I thought that was so funny. I loved the character Jacob in this book. I thought he was adorable. And I am excited to read this and find out what happens, because the last book left off on a cliffhanger, and it's time for me to read the second one and see what happens in this one. And then I need to get the third one and read that one. And here is our 6th and final pick, and this is the punishment prompt, and that is Color Wheel. So I will bring the app up on my phone and we will go from there. The rules of the color wheel is whatever color it lands on is the color of book I have to choose from. So here's the color wheel, and as you can see, there's the rainbow colors on there. So let's just hit spin. And it landed on a dark purple. So I'm going to look and see what books I have and be right back. Alright, so for the color wheel, for the color dark purple, I chose Fear Collector by Greg Olson, and this says, Ted Bundy, America's most notorious serial killer for two women. He is the ultimate obsession. One is a cop whose sister may have been one of Bundy's victims. The other is a deranged groupie who corresponded with Bundy in prison and raised her son to finish what Bundy started, to charm and seduce innocent girls, to kidnap and brutalize more women than any serial killer in history, and to lure one obsessed cop into a trap as sick and demented as Bundy himself. This sounds really good. This sounds really weird, but I love watching things about serial killers and especially like true crime on YouTube. So I'm excited to read this one and see what I think about it, and just, it says it's supposed to scare you, and I am ready. That is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting, hit that subscribe and that notification bell, and you will be the first to know. Also, if you have read any of these books, leave a comment down below on whether you like them or not, and we can see if our opinion is the same. And if you have any video suggestions for me, leave those in the comment below. But also, that is it. And until next time, keep on reading, people. Bye!